Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome back. You're listening to the Entrepreneurial Web. I'm your host, Jeremiah Fox. Over the last few weeks, maybe a couple months, I don't know what days it anyways, we've taken to Zoom. We've gone to all different parts of North America, bringing in guests. But today, we bring it back to Brooklyn, to my neighborhood, Winter Terrace, highlighting a couple really amazing people here in the community that have done some fantastic things. So basically, since quarantine and we all had to stay at home, everybody became an overnight live streaming sensation. We took to Instagram Live, Facebook Live, Zoom exploded. But both of my guests today are people that have either careers in live streaming previously or have utilized it currently with great effect, done some really spectacular things and helped people along the way, as well as helping themselves, which is, I think, this is just part of what we have to be right now, what we have to do going forward. And to that effect, the quote of the week, which comes from, we will be dealing with hearing about some artists and some musicians today. This is a lyric from the very first vinyl album I got. I believe it was Christmas of 1986, and it was Raising Hell by Run DMC. Once again, bringing it back to the NYC, Hollis Queens in the house. A little lyric from a track called Is It Live? I got quality and skill beyond belief. Do I steal? Be for real. I'm not a thief, dictator and hater of those that beef. That's right. And I can fight because I'm the chief. Good bit of confidence. We all need a little bit of that these days. We need to know that we can handle what's going on. We need to be able to face these issues that we're dealing with in our lives and in our communities, and we got to do it head on. And I think that was just a great lyric. It's something that has stuck with me. Again, I was probably like 9 years old when I got that album, and I've never forgotten that lyric. It's always been with me. With that, I would like to introduce my first guest today. He is the CEO and founder of First Tube Media. It is a full-service live stream content platform that makes it turnkey for brands to execute innovative sponsorship programs that delivers brand-owned tune-in moments, resulting in scaled consumer engagement and clear ROI. He's also been involved in Yahoo and Xtol and a bunch of other things. With that, Andrew Barenbom. Andrew, are you here with us?
Yeah, what's up, Jeremiah? How you doing, man?
Good. And yourself?
Doing pretty good. Pretty good.
Awesome. Welcome to the show. Can you give everybody a little background on yourself? I gave a little brief intro of your bio. I didn't want to spill the whole beans, give you a chance to talk. I think I've said enough.
Yeah. So a little background, born and raised in New York, moved out to California right after graduating University of Maryland with my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wonderful wife.
Awesome.
And we spent 15 years out in the Bay Area, and that's kind of where I got my chops around kind of being an entrepreneur in digital marketing, kind of getting into that ecosystem. Both Lauren and I both started our careers. I was at Yahoo really early on. I actually know this. I'm the 401st employee ever at Yahoo because it was the number on your paycheck. My first day, it was my second day at Yahoo. Jerry Yang went up and congratulated the 400th employee and gave him a trophy and told the guy that it meant nothing, that he's the 400th employee, as a joke. And he happened to be the guy that was standing in front of me when I was registering into the company the day before. And so I could have been 400 and gotten that trophy. I was 401. So I was sitting in the back and kind of thanking my stars, because it was like my first job I ever had really, in the corporate world. From living in the Bay Area for a long time, got into the early internet and startup ecosystem. And, after Yahoo, I've been part of a variety of startups, some that I was just really early employee on. And then I've been a founder, basically since 2004, I guess it is, if I think back, 2003. And I've created 4 companies since then. And First Tube Media is kind of came out of consulting practice of where I was just kind of pretty, where out of all the kind of landscape of digital marketing, I understand customer acquisition pretty well. Mm-hmm. And knowing how to kind of drive kind of that lower funnel value of digital marketing. And I was, a friend of mine asked me to run marketing for the Grateful Dead's Fairly Well tour 4 years ago. And it was kind of the 50th anniversary. It was kind of this dream gig. I'm a huge fan of that music. And also the lead guitarist was Trey from Fish. It was kind of, I got he's one of the only men I have a significant man crush on. Yeah, it threw me into music at a high level. Just kind of learning the industry, from that opportunity. It was a really exciting time. And, we broke the record for most pay-per-view sales ever for a music event. And out of that, First Two Media kind of started to get born as I started to ask a lot of questions about, why things weren't done this way or this way, as come from a marketing lens, why brands couldn't do this or that. And I heard a lot of no's. So then I thought that there was an actual opportunity there to kind of create something. And so that fast forward that to where we're at now, it's been kind of a pretty crazy ride, obviously, with kind of where live streaming is sitting today.
Yeah. It's interesting that you said that about the no's and seeing the opportunity. That's really, like, from all the people that I've talked to about entrepreneurship, whether they were on the show or just, talks in the street, that's like one of the number one things. Like a no, there's sometimes no means no. We all know that. But like when an industry basically is just like, no, you're like, yeah.
And that's typically the way it works, right? I mean, being an entrepreneur, you hear the word no a lot, right? It's
big time.
Yeah. You hear no 98, 99% of the time, but that 1% is your driver, right?
Yeah.
And then hopefully that grows percentage points. And, that's kind of how we are with where we're at now at First Two Media is, I'd say 3 years ago when we said, hey, live media needs to be something that all CMOs think about. I'd say 5% of the most savvy CMOs had that on their mind, 3 years ago, and kind of understood what we were saying to them. And that percentage has been slowly growing as the market's been growing. And then suddenly March slams down, and I think we'll see that go from 5% to 90%, here, as we progress here. I think it'll be top of mind for everyone. So we're kind of in an interesting time for us.
Yeah, definitely. And I was flipping through your site earlier this week and noticed there was a lot of musical acts. I wasn't sure how the musical connection came, but that was really, you got your springboard with the Dead tour, and and that's been a large focus of it. And it makes sense that musicians are trying to get. I actually studied music. I have 2 music degrees.
Yeah, I noticed that.
I was a freelancer for quite a while, and this is pre-live streaming days.
Yeah, well, a lot of it's just, I'm a passionate fan of music, but, as I dug into the business and had a lot of friends in the business, artists were obviously not making money off of albums anymore. Yeah. And then the streaming platforms kind of were, making the promise of a revenue opportunity, but by and large, artists were forced to tour more than ever, perform live more than ever, as to kind of make a living and progress. And, we saw just from a marketing landscape, we saw this kind of native influencer marketing, branded content, video content, all those from a macro were just accelerating, right? Video as a format was accelerating faster than ever. Influencer marketing, native advertising, how do I create authenticity was accelerating more than ever. And so we saw this opportunity to really bring these branded video content dollars as a new revenue stream to artists. And that was kind of the premise of the initial part of the business was like, hey, there's a new revenue stream here. We can be the streamlined platform to do that. And, it feels good. We've paid out, millions of dollars to emerging artists over the last few years. And, we're hoping for that to significantly grow. And it's more important than ever right now.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. And that's what I was going to ask next is what do you kind of see in terms of the future for that? Because even small venues, and I've got a few friends in Nashville. That's where I'm originally from. And, that's a very music-centric city. And they've actually started to open venues back up, small ones. And, they're limiting the amount of musicians that can be on stage. They're limiting the amount of people that can watch. So you might get back into small venue kind of operation soon, but that really doesn't bring in any money. That's often a loss.
The music business is very cutthroat as being an independent promoter, and I'm sure your friends share that. And a lot of the independent promoters are our friends, and the independent venue is at risk right now, and it's scary, because that's for me, I love music, but that's where I want to watch music as a fan.
Exactly.
I don't want to go to Giant Stadium.
Yeah.
It's not my thing. So it's very important for these guys to get through this time. But their math is tight. They make money by selling alcohol.
Yeah.
They don't make money, and so And this is being a restaurant owner, like
that's a tough bracket too.
Yeah, but if you don't have enough people coming through the door to buy beer, your P&L is not going to work.
Yeah.
And so I think everyone's trying to get to a place of normalcy. I don't see it happening for this year. It's opening up new business models that didn't make sense 3 years ago. It's really a pay-per-view model, right? The pay-per-view model, a ticketed digital event, didn't make sense for anybody unless the band was called Fish, or the Grateful Dead primarily, or that genre, right? Because the fan base is rabid and the show is different every time, right? But that's changed. I think we are seeing an influx of kind of these, that model being attached for independent venues and artists, and seeing if it's some way to kind of at least stopgap some of the bleeding. And so that's one of the things that's happening right now. And obviously what we do from a branded content kind of sponsor support standpoint is another avenue.
So last week I just had a couple musicians on to talk about kind of what scenario they were in right now. One was in LA and one was in Pittsburgh, and both very active. And one of the gentlemen, he's in a touring metal band, been very successful. They're on the Ipecac label. That's Mike Patton. They're supposed to go on tour with Faith No More later this year. And they were talking about kind of going back to the 1980s music video model, where you're actually performing in a venue, but there's no crowd, but you're live streaming that way. Is that what you were referring to just a moment ago, where the venue is getting some money and the band?
Yeah, I mean, that could be one scenario. We just did a show in Nashville, actually. It was Lady Antebellum in a venue. It was a whole band, 8-piece, and everyone was 6 feet spread apart.
Yeah.
I think it was mostly my crew in there, but there was probably, I think, 10 fans they let in. It's not a scalable model, for that. Yeah. And so the idea of building a toll booth digitally and creating a revenue stream, I just got off a call talking about actually this entire thing with it's really, is there another movement for digital promoters really? And, is that a business? I think it is in the next short term. I think it's TBD on the long term. I think ultimately fans want to see live music, and
yeah.
I think, where we position ourselves is we believe every live kind of brand live sponsorship should have a digital extension to it. And that was what our premise or our business was before this all happened. There's other technologies. YouTube launched something called Super Chat, allowing fans to be able to tip artists as they're performing. It launched just about a month ago. It's pretty interesting. It was very successful as a technology that was in China for about a year and a half. They finally released it out to a lot of their creator community. And so there's a bunch of different things that are out there. Obviously, the Patreons of the world is another kind of platform that creates scale on the subscription side. And so they're all thinking about this stuff. Some of it's just education for the promoters, right? I mean, these guys are bar owners, they're music experts. And so there's just this gap in education. And, it's interesting to see them all kind of sprint and figure things out, But hopefully that the federal government will come in and provide some support there. God knows that one. We could talk an hour about that one.
Yeah, I don't have my fingers crossed on that one on so many fronts.
Yeah.
And you did make a good point that in the short term, everything's like Band-Aids right now, right? I mean, it's the same for the restaurant industry. Like all of us are if all of us that are open are just operating on the takeout model right now, which isn't going to work forever, for sure. And then there's going to be this interim period where people maybe can come inside or maybe only eat outside, and it's going to phase in and out. And then if there's another spike in cases, then what happens? But we're hopefully looking at in a year or two, we can kind of get back. So these guys are going to have to switch gears, just like restaurants are in the interim, to just, and get, like you said, get educated, get smart, because who knows when this shit's going to happen again, right? Or what's going to happen again? Like what economic situations are going to come of this, that maybe it's not coronavirus in 6 months, but now all of a sudden, nobody has any money. Then how do you do it, and getting really creative with the model that way. It's hopefully it is temporary, but I like the idea of just quick burner education, trial by fire, make something happen, but keep your eye on the prize and just you got to keep chugging along with this stuff.
Yeah, and it's been fun for us, in ways. We've always been the very premium side of the market because our clients are brands, and so just seeing the DIY approach and people being, the entrepreneur in me is loving watching people try to do stuff and be creative, make stuff happen, and it's been really interesting to watch.
That's awesome. Cool. Well, we're going to take a short break. We'll be back in about 1 minute. You're listening to the Entrepreneurial Web.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
Do you run or are ready to open your own business? Hi, I'm Jeremiah Fox. I've been operating and opening small business for the last 25 years, and I'm the host of the new show, The Entrepreneurial Web. Tune in every Friday at noon Eastern Time for insights and stories on the nuances of running small business right here on Fridays at noon, talkradio.nyc.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
Talking Alternative Radio, 24 hours a day.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Again, you're listening to the Entrepreneurial Web. I'm your host, Jeremiah Fox, joined by friend and neighbor, CEO and founder of First Two Media, Andrew Barenbom. Andrew, you back with us?
I'm here. What's up?
It's so strange because I'm so used to doing this right across the table from somebody, and then the Zoom goes black, like I don't see you anymore during the commercial. Oh. So it's always like, Are you there? It's so strange. I always got to ask.
We're just around the corner,
Yeah, it is so weird. We are literally around the corner from each other. We're pretty close, but the screen goes black on me, and I'm like, is he still there? Is he still there? And I've got my laptop open with the Facebook feed, so it's playing, but there's always some latency, so it's always like a little bit behind.
Right. Yeah,
it's like that scene in Spaceballs. When is then? Just now. It's just about. So yes, this is a live stream on live streaming, and you were just making a good point. It's funny when I was reading, when you sent me your bio, I was like, oh, cool, he does all this stuff. Maybe you could help me. I'm like, oh, Fortune 500 companies, yeah. But then you were just talking about like seeing the smaller guys like hustle, and what are some of the cool things you've seen, like just the bootstrapping guys do lately that have impressed you?
Yeah, well, I think it just goes back to the what happened right when this all, when everyone was told, hey, it's time to stay inside, just seeing the artist community, there were two kind of natural instincts for them, right? One was I'm an artist and I need to create, and how do I go share that? Because that's what I do. That's my passion. And then there was the reverse of it was they were getting influxed with, hey, the world's falling apart, help, and social impact kind of value to their participation. And so specifically around music, I view all artists as entrepreneurs, probably some of the more risky entrepreneurs out there. Yeah. Right. And, seeing them, we have like DIY kits that we send to artists, and like, as they see the higher grade stuff, but, before that, just, them starting to be like, oh, I need to level up my audio. Oh, I did Instagram Live, and then they watch it and they're like, oh, that hurt, because the quality is just not to the level of like the way an artist would ever, typically perform, right? And kind of seeing that become sacrificing that quality just for those other motivations that I mentioned, was kind of really cool to see. And I think, we're seeing that quickly transition to, oh shit, we're now the cause and we need money.
Yeah.
And I think with that, they're now focused on the quality of their product a bit more. And so, things that artists didn't do in the past, they're suddenly learning how to, set up the backlines and setting up, their camera, making sure their angles, making sure their audio mics are set up correctly. Oh, maybe I would like to, add more graphical, experiences to it, and kind of, with us, we could have a graphical package with your logo here and all those types of things. And so there's ways that we're seeing, people to level up on that. Then they're learning, oh, wait, I could syndicate this out into every platform. I didn't know I could do that. I thought I just had to hang out on Instagram. Right. But I actually have 6 times that audience across all these platforms. Maybe I should think about syndication, And so I think there's all that going on as well. And so it's been fun, watching that artist community. And then like now Super Chat exists for YouTube is just one way. So now they're saying, oh, how do I do that? How does that pay me? And potentially, support my situation. And a lot of them, it's been beautiful because they're like just trying to support their staff in a lot of ways. Right.
Yeah.
And so like there was like Janelle Monáe did a pay-per-view. It was just for her staff. I think she raised like 40 grand or 50 grand, probably kept her whole team alive for another month or two. Right. Yeah. And I'm sure you've got this mindset being a restaurant owner, right?
Absolutely.
Like you're thinking in almost unit blocks of like, how do I do this? And first two, before this all went down, we had a certain amount of runway, and, I was like, I was nervous, and then it's like, and you're always thinking that way on the care of your team, when you're the leader, for better and worse, it goes beyond you. And so,
yeah,
I think that's been the cool part of what's happened here is just people are, there's obviously political situations happening with divides and all that. And I don't think that's going to go away. But I think what is cool is that people are kind of using their talents for good in a lot of ways. And it's been fun to watch that as well.
Nice. Do you all also provide or connect advertising dollars to artists? Is that part of the live stream, contracts that you guys work?
Yeah. So a little more background on us. We're a kind of a misfit team of combined skill sets. And, my background is in building software platforms where I'm finding these complex business processes that if software can kind of, streamline them and make them kind of, hey, a brand or an agency saying, hey, should I build this myself or should I go license this and buy it? Right. And so my brain has always been into those business opportunities. And when I got into this, it was really interesting because each human skill set was so expert and needed in its own way. And so what we are is we're a team of kind of, music experts that are talent promoters, talent buyers, as well as licensing. Our filmmaking is led by a gentleman named Jojo Pennebaker, comes from a family of well-known, music documentaries. Jojo's been producing music content for 20 years by now. His father was D.A. Pennebaker, a really well-known Woodstock, Don't Get Back, Bob Dylan. And then we're the digital marketer technologists. And so all of us kind of get together, as one solution for brands. And then as part of that, we're taking those brand dollars investment and bringing it to the artists. Mm-hmm. And so that's how that branded content dollar goes back, right? So, for like our program last Saturday night, we had 2 really hot emerging artists for Grubhub. We run this program called Grubhub Soundbites, and we had Omar, Apollo, and Masego performing for us, and so they were each compensated. What was cool is Omar actually took his entire fee and was like, I want to go build this crazy, Desert Valley drone content footage and use his pay, because he actually was like, this is amazing. I actually wanted to do a marketing live stream myself. Now the brand's kind of supporting me to create this, much higher quality piece of content, even beyond what we were planning on doing. And so it's interesting to see those dynamics. But yes, we are, that's a core part of what we're doing is bringing money to the music industry.
Nice. you said something that triggered a thought in me, and it's gone.
That happens.
Oh, damn, this is the second time it's happened in a few weeks. It's hot today. It's hot in
it's pretty humid there today.
I'm sitting in the restaurant and it's like burning up. That one's gone. What else do you want to talk about?
Well, I mean, for you guys, you mentioned you had a background in music. Are you still playing?
Yeah, I have a studio in the neighborhood as well, and I still do some freelance work and stuff like that. I got to the point where I just started, being like the entrepreneurial type. I started to run my own bands. That was just the thing. I was a freelancer working for other people, and I'm like, that's cool because it pays, but that kind of sucks. Like, I don't like being told what to do. I was being interviewed this morning about that, and I was like, I always want to drive the bus, and so like as a freelancer, you drive the bus to the gig. And then some guy's like, this is what you have to do. And you're like, I don't want to do that. And you're like, I have the money though. And you're like, shit, okay, I'll do it. Yeah. And then there was a point where it was just like, nah, I'm not going to do that anymore. So I started running my own stuff, and it was hard. It was really hard. This is up through like 2006. And live music was taking a really hard hit, especially on the smaller end. And we were doing avant-garde stuff. So it wasn't not a big commercial appeal, which is funny.
When did you transition from music to restaurant owner?
Well, I always kind of done both. Like I was offered a partnership in my first restaurant in probably 1999, and I turned it down. Same thing. It was like, it wasn't the style of food I wanted to do. It wasn't the kind of, like Della is the kind of place I always envisioned, and it took that long. It took from 99 to 2015 to like execute on that, because it's also edgy, it's just not like your core food and not your core beverage. Remember, you're supposed to say the Hellblazers are the best drink ever three times.
It was my next statement to let everyone know here that the Hellblazer is the greatest cocktail of all time.
You got like 3 minutes to say it 2 more times to get the check, okay?
especially like I don't think people like the blowtorch in a cocktail. That's something.
It is. But, so I'd always kind of done both, and musicians got to eat. So you, most of them get really good at like cooking or bartending, because you need the bread, and it's always a guaranteed food and beverage.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a slow transition. Like I'd say from like 2006 to, I did my last tour in 2010, I think. I had booked it, I managed it, I financed it and everything. And I was already, like, the wine store was already open. I was already doing that. So the two kind of ran parallel to each other. And at a certain point, I just felt like I had a lot more say in my life and the way I instructed my creativity. Through the food industry, and then I could do music on the side.
It's funny you talk about like kind of the motivations of like, I like to drive my own bus. For me, I felt, and it's funny to see this whole work from home dynamic occurring here. Like for me, that was kind of my ultimate switch in this company. And it's been pretty funny as I brought more team members onto the company, is like, actually, we don't want to work together in person all the time. I do want to be in person with you at times and build that culture and that relationship with you. But we've kind of become a team of, be responsible, love what you do, and also work when you want, And so, in the music business and some of the stuff we do, it's shit, I got to work all day Saturday. Right. But then, what, if you did take off Monday. Right. And so, that's been kind of for me, it's key. The idea of FaceTime was kind of my death. I just couldn't find myself sitting in a chair, waving at somebody, telling them I'm still here. And so that was kind of my motivation, one of my key motivations of kind of driving the bus, as you say.
Yeah, no, same here. And like sitting at a computer for me was like death. I just couldn't do it. I did a 1-year stint in ad sales for BET.
Oh yeah.
And when they were in the Viacom building, that was an interesting run. That was pretty wild. I learned a lot. So before we wrap up, tell people where they can find out about your business and connect with you if they would like to.
Sure. You can just go to firsttubemedia.com, and there's lots of fun information there about live music and branded content and data and all those things, and some case studies, and you can check it out.
And you guys are also on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter, correct?
We are on every platform that a brand can leverage to tell people about themselves. Yes.
Awesome. And it's first tube media at all of that, right?
Yeah, it is.
Quick, this is what I wanted to ask. Why, like YouTube, first tube, or is there? You're like, are you battling? You put the line in the sand, and you're like, yeah, bring it.
Well, it goes back to the initial part of our conversation, but I own like 20 domain names that I had bought for a long time, and when I left my last kind of corporate gig, I was kind of choosing my consultancy, and First Tube is actually the name of a fish song. And so I have a bunch of fish songs with the word media on the end of it. Gotcha. And as I was like, which one kind of matches video ad tech a bit?
Yeah.
And we sell first window rights of music to brands, and we were like, oh, that kind of works. And so it's kind of stuck. We've thought about replacing it like 3 years ago. Now we gave up. And so
keep it. I think it's great. It sticks in the head. It just didn't stick in my head when I was supposed to ask you that. It's so funny. I'm glad I whipped that one back up.
There you go.
I was only on my second coffee today. Cool. Well, thank you for coming on, man. I really appreciate it. I'll see you around the hood.
Yeah.
A blazer on me. You come by. I'll set it up.
Cheers, Jeremiah.
Right. We'll be back in a few, everybody. You're listening to the Entrepreneurial Web.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network at www.talkingalternative.com. Now, broadcasting 24 hours a day. Talking Alternative.
Do you run or are ready to open your own business? Hi, I'm Jeremiah Fox. I've been operating and opening small business for the last 25 years, and I'm the host of the new show, The Entrepreneurial Web. Tune in every Friday at noon Eastern Time for insights and stories on the nuances of running small business right here on Fridays at noon, talkradio.nyc.
Do you love or are you intrigued about New York City and its neighborhoods? I'm Jeff Goodman, host of Rediscovering New York, a weekly show that showcases New York's history and its extraordinary neighborhoods. Every Tuesday live at 7 p.m., we focus on a particular neighborhood and explore its history, its vibe, its feel, and its energy. Tune in live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. on talkradio.nyc.
I'm the aptly named host of Tony Martignetti Nonprofit Radio. Big nonprofit ideas for the other 95%. Fundraising, board relations, social media. My guests and I cover everything that small and mid-sized shops struggle with. If you have big dreams and a small budget, you have a home at Tony Martignetti Nonprofit Radio. Fridays 1 to 2 Eastern at talkingalternative.com.
Talking Alternative Radio, 24 hours a day.
Welcome back, everybody. Again, you're listening to the Entrepreneurial Web. Today, we are doing a live stream on live streaming. Last section of the show, we heard from Andrew Barenbom, who is a neighbor of mine in the awesome neighborhood of Windsor Terrace in Brooklyn. He is the CEO and founder of First Tube Media. Now, second portion of the show, I hope you're ready to get fit. We're going to do some exercise.
Yes.
I'm kidding. Welcome. This is Tara Pontani. Should we mention his last name?
We should.
My dojo husband, Kyle Schad.
Yes.
Tara Pontani Schad of the famous Pontani sisters, but she's also the host of a live stream that has exploded here during quarantine called Toning with Tara. You do it through Zoom?
Yes.
Yes. And man, people have joined. You got people from all over the country.
The world.
All over the world.
Yes.
Sorry. I made your basket a little smaller. World sensation.
Yes. No, it's been amazing. Awesome. I have Brazil tuning in regularly. It's really amazing.
Oh, caraj. Can you tell everybody a little bit about yourself? Give us a little background and how you got into fitness instruction.
I've always been fit. Grew up dancing. Born in Trenton, New Jersey, oldest of 3 sisters. My mom put us in dancing school when we pretty much could walk. And that was it. We grew up dancing. So that's a very big part of who I am today. Not that I pursued that in college. I kind of let it go. But how I hold myself, I have my dance teacher constantly in my head, and it's translated to how I even teach. Just to have that proud chest, tuck your tailbone, cores engaged constantly. You can ask everyone that takes the classes. I chatter nonstop about your form, which is so important. So that I studied dance, moved to New York to go to NYU. My sister Angie did as well. And I actually studied cultural anthropology, which I
saw that
with dance. I know. And then even went on to grad school at Columbia and Bank Street to do a master's in special ed and social work. But at that same time, there was a really awesome thing going on in the city with the burlesque scene revival. And my sister was very much involved in it. She always maintained her dancing and her art form, wanted to be on the stage. And we were roommates, and we were living in a railroad apartment in Williamsburg in the early 90s, paying such a ridiculous amount for rent. And she needed to, somebody asked her to start a group. And she said, would you just dance with me? And so I started dancing with her. And that became a huge thing. The Pontani sisters were very organic, and we had gigs all over the place in the city, from Windows on the World to Marion's on the Bowery. Galapagos when it was in Williamsburg.
Yeah, we remember it well.
And stints on late night with Conan O'Brien. We were on like 6 times. We pushed Abe Vigoda in a tub. We sang. Max Weinberg was like, what key do you sing in? And my head almost exploded because I don't sing. And my sister was like, yes, we do. And
why does he care? He's a drummer.
Because we had to do a singing. We had to do a singing bit. And he was at the piano, and we were like, we sing in opera key. And that's what we did. So, and then I got, the Pontani sisters were awesome, toured the world, toured Europe, toured Canada. Really highlight of my life, such incredible memories and opportunities. And then I got pregnant with twins. And Kyle and I were planning a wedding for May, and end of May. And I was due the first week of June. So, surprise! That's not happening. We had a rush wedding at City Hall because I needed his health insurance because performers didn't have health insurance.
You didn't get none.
No.
That's the only reason I got married.
Yeah. I still need it, so we're still married.
No. I know. Same here.
So,
especially right now, right?
Yeah, seriously. So the twins, and I was pregnant with twins, not a singleton. I had twins, which was just hilarious. Still freaking hilarious, as they're going to be 13 next week, which I don't even understand how that's possible. But the twins took me out of, they sidelined my performance career. There was no going back on the road. I mean, we were successful, but it's a grind. It is nonstop. It is a hustle, as any entrepreneur knows. It's your own business, and that's what it was. I couldn't do it. So my sister went on. She's still crushing it. Angie Pontani, she's awesome. And I focused on my kids, and I was able to do that. Kyle and I agreed that let's do it this way. We were totally all in on that. Then the boys got older. I got some of my time back, and I really got back into working out. And I just love running. Running became my thing. Ran a few marathons. Loved it, but then I got injured, and I found that I had to find something else to do. And that's when I discovered group classes and hitting the weights. And that was another organic process. I walked through one door of a gym, and it pretty much changed my life. And I was like, I love this. And when I get passionate about something, I kind of get this like tunnel vision. And I was like,
it gets done.
I can do this. I have a dancing background. I can do this. So that's it. And I went and got certified. My gym gave me a job. I ended up getting I put it out to my friends. I was like, anybody want to try some sessions with Tony and Tara? And I had a bunch of friends say yes. And then I did it for free for a little bit. And then I said, okay, they signed on after a few sessions. So that's how I got here.
And they were signing on through the gym you were working?
No, I was doing it independently. I didn't go through the gym. I was only teaching classes at the gym, and I was doing that in the park. We'd go meet in the park. Yeah. They would come to me here. And
but it was either like one-on-one or small groups that you were doing.
Yeah.
had you done any kind of virtual classes prior to March?
No. No. I was like, Zoom what?
Right. I know, I'd heard about it, and it's funny because I know other podcasters, and we used to do our shows live in studio. You know, we'd be in the studio in Midtown, and my guest would sit right across from me. And there were a couple guys like, oh, we could just do it through Zoom, like they were in Phoenix or whatever and wanted to come on. And I was like, no, we don't do that. And then all of a sudden I'm like, do you know how to Zoom? Like, the funny part is the kids though, they're like taking classes through Zoom and they do the fancy backgrounds and all this stuff. And I'm like, what?
Please. I'm like, how do you do that? How do you mute? No, it's been such a crash course for me. I'm still learning how to do things on Zoom.
Yeah, of course. What I think is great, because my wife, Patty, does Tara's class sometimes if she wakes up. She always says, wake me up for Tara's class, because I'm always up.
Good. I'm there for you. It's all good. You do you.
I get up every day and work out. That's just like, I have to get up and do it, you know, regardless, no matter what. We matted a whole room because the dojo's closed. It's just like, I'm down on it every day. She's a little less motivated in terms of the physical aspects as I am. But I've walked by and just seen this screen and the amount of people. Like I've seen a number of Zoom things, and I'm like, where's Tara? Like there's so many people.
And Jeremiah, I just learned last week there's 2 screens. I had another screen.
Oh, really?
Yes. I was like, what is that that arrow?
Yeah.
There's another screen.
So how many people would you say are joining a class, like on average right now?
It's always in the mid 30s. 30 is usually my low. Today we were at 40. And then I have people text me, I'm so sorry I didn't make it to class. I'm so sorry I didn't make class this morning. And I was like, oh, I thought you were in there. And I don't see everybody all the time. Like, oh my God, you weren't there. And I had 40 people. So yeah, it's 40.
When you hit a certain point, it's just like with social media, you know, you can keep up with the comments and all the interactions and the DMs and everything. And at a certain point, it's just like, there are more messages than I can respond to right now. And that's a beautiful thing, you know, as long as you're maintaining intimacy and occasionally like, you, and like giving some shout outs and stuff like that. I think that's important, but that's a blessing that you've hit that point. And currently this is something you were doing, just to point out to everybody, you're not charging money for this. This is just
no. And this
has Tara saying, I gotta work out. You gotta work out. Let's just do this.
So I've always been a physical person, always working, running, intentional movement. If I do not have intentional movement 5 out of the 7 days a week, I start to get depressed. It's just something, and this is a scientific thing. There's articles about this. Sure. When those endorphins don't get flowing, when it's not an intentional movement of excess, like you're pushing yourself a little bit, I get depressed. So what happened with this is like, okay, we're rolling in. Okay, we see the coronavirus wave coming to New York, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Gyms are going to get hit. We're shutting down. No, there's no way.
Yeah.
And the first day, it was like, I think it was the eve before we shut down, and 2 people texted me. One lovely girl, Ruby, who always takes my classes at the gym, and my friend Allison, and you know Allison.
Allison Garber.
Allison Garber is not at the gym, but she texted me and was like, oh my gosh, if everything shuts down, is there a way you can do a class in the park? Ruby texted me, oh my gosh, I can't stop working out. We've made such gains. What's going to happen? What are you going to do? Can you help me? You know? And I was just like, and Ruby, who's younger than me, said, do you know Zoom? And I was like, Zoom who? Like, you know, Zoom? And I went and looked at Zoom and I was like, all right, class tomorrow morning. And it was at 9 a.m. originally. And I was like, we'll do 45 minutes and see where it goes. I was like, maybe I'll do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You know, I don't know. So I told Allison, there were 8 people that next morning. And then they were like, can we share? Can we share? Yes. And literally it went from, and I told my sister and a couple friends, and it went from there to 20, and then it went to 30, and then it went to 40 very, very quickly. And I still, can I join? I get messages all the time. Yes, it's absolutely welcome to everyone. And I don't want to take a dime from anyone, because when the shutdown happened, all my performer friends, all my bartender friends, all my service industry, gone, income
Lights
gone.
out.
And then
Lights
getting
out.
the whole hassle of trying to get the unemployment. It was such a nightmare. I'm like, I'm not asking anybody for a dime. I'm in a situation where we are okay. My income coming in was extra for us because I'd been a stay-at-home mom for so long. So we are okay and we're going to be fine. But I was like, I'm not asking anybody. I just want to keep you moving, because if you stop moving, if we have to stay indoors, our minds are going to go like so bad. This is more not about maintaining the muscle we gained in the gym. It's about maintaining sanity for me. It
100%.
truly just boils down to sanity. And I want you to maintain your sanity, and I want her and him, because it's just so important. It's vital. It's vital. Yeah. It's what brought me into this, like from in the first place. And then this happening, I'm like, oh my God, if this is what I can give, then I'm giving it, because I want everyone to stay as healthy as they can. So it went from maybe 3 days a week in my head. And I was like, I'm doing this every day. I'm getting up. And then my friend Elena said, can you do 8:45? Because there's a lot of work at home people. Yeah. And they have to jump into meetings at 9:15, 9:30. So I live in an apartment building, and I was like, I can't start much earlier than 8:45. I have neighbors below me. Thank God they haven't said a word. But so we're at 8:45 now.
Awesome. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in just a minute, okay? Kick back, everybody. You're listening to the Entrepreneurial Web.
Talking Alternative Radio, 24 hours a day.
I'm the aptly named host of Tony Martignetti Nonprofit Radio. Big nonprofit ideas for the other 95%. Fundraising, board relations, social media. My guests and I cover everything that small and mid-sized shops struggle with. If you have big dreams and a small budget, you have a home at Tony Martignetti Nonprofit Radio. Fridays 1 to 2 Eastern at talkingalternative.com.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
talkingalternative.com.
Okay, everybody. Last set. Let's make it our best. Welcome back. You're listening to the Entrepreneurial Web. I'm your host, Jeremiah Fox, with my guest, Tara Pontani. And
Schad. You can say it. It's okay.
I saw him. He was so close.
Oh, you love each other so much. Stop it.
I do. He's so her husband, Kyle, is my dojo husband. I do. I love him.
I think about you guys constantly, and you missing the dojo. He has his mats out every night. He's break and fall. He's doing. It's just such a hole right now, right?
Yeah, it is. And you know, most of us, especially, I think it's for people like myself and Kyle and a number of others that I've talked to. You know, we've been in it for a long time. Like those of us, especially that made it to purple belt. It's like you committed so much. Yeah. And I was, it's funny because I had hernia surgery in January, right at like January 6th or something like that. I just had to get it done. So crazy. Because if I hadn't, this is my second one too. I had it 10 years ago, but this one like was starting to hurt. And I was like, man, I got to just get this done. If I had waited still, it would be trouble for me. Yeah. But I was only out for 2 weeks. It wasn't a big deal. It was a quick recovery. And I was back to full steam in like 3 weeks. It was not a problem. But I learned something in that time about myself and in terms of fitness, and you talked about it too in the last segment, was that I now had it with me. It was like inside of me all the time. And I knew it at that point. I was like, oh, this is not going away. Where like maybe, you know, a year earlier, I'd have been kind of panicking. And, you know, you're saying it's like mental. You could easily talk yourself, you know, you know, walk yourself right off the ledge. If you know, it's just like you got to have that mental fortitude. And in January, it hit me, and I was like, I know it. It's part of me now, and like no matter what happens. And then it was 6 weeks later, and it was like boom, and I was like, man, I got this. It's not going to be a problem. I'm gonna weather this. So there's some of us who have just like, we're committed. We're gonna do it regardless. Obviously, you know, we were training like hours a day, every day. You know, we might be a little rusty, but I'm gonna take advantage of that rust.
It's like riding a bike. You guys are gonna be. Yeah. You'll be back in it. Yeah.
But the thing that fascinated me the most about what you're doing, you know, I started this show a little under a year ago and not knowing really anything about, you know, live broadcasting or social media and and it was just like, if you're going to do this, you have to utilize that. Like, I started to do my research though on like how to best utilize it, because I don't have all the time in the world and I'm not a techie person myself either. One of the things that I heard early on in this was especially with your approach to social media and any kind of live broadcast that you're doing, is to do it without expectations. If you're like, I'm going to put this out into the world expecting like people are going to call me for business or consultation or whatever, like it's going to be creepy. It's like those cold calls, you know, or like the cheap car salesman. The advice given to me was just do it and do it and do it and do it sincerely and honestly, and just for the good of people. Like, don't expect anything in return, but it'll happen. It'll start to happen for you. And when that lady called from Texas, I was like, Tara's got it. It's just like, this lady's like, she's not taking money. She's just so awesome. She changed my life. I just want to do something for her. Like, can I just buy her a bunch of alcohol?
Yes.
And I was like, yeah, how much? I was like, nah, you're going to need to spend more money.
Facts.
You guys
it's all about balance.
You guys post the pictures of like what you have in your bar and you're like, do we have enough? And I'm like, that's a small store. No, I'm kidding.
Listen.
I'm like, I know where you got that from.
We're professionals. Being Italian, right? I appreciate the wine.
Well, like you said, you're like, I get tunnel vision.
right on the wine.
Wine right now.
Yeah, I work hard.
Right. You deserve every bit of it. But that really fascinated me. And that at that point, I knew, I was like, man, we have to talk about this. We have to talk about this on air, because people are looking right now. People are like, they're looking for fitness. So this is one way to do it. You find somebody that resonates with you and you're just like, oh, I'm going to do that. But for people that are looking to keep some sensibility of their life, if they developed a brand or they developed a business or something like that, and they're like, I don't know what to do. Sure, it's hard to ask for money right now. It's like, you know, you can't get online and be like, here's some information now. You can donate at the button. You know, it's just like, just do it. Just get up and do it well and do it sincerely. And, you know, as long as you're providing people with some sense of value, if you're making them feel better, if you're improving their life in some way, it will totally come back. You want to,
and I don't know. That one? Yeah, I don't know. Well, there's a couple things that this has created a community. So in the morning, well, first of all, I have no expectations. Every morning I'm like, is it just going to be me today? Right. You know? And then
I know that feeling.
You know, and then the faces start popping in, and we've gotten to know, I've met people. I cannot wait to meet these people in person. There are people that I've never met from our neighborhood and all over the world. Mm-hmm. I mean, Michelle and I, we're going to Vegas after this is over. And, you know, so
Michelle,
there's that community.
Can I go on that trip?
Absolutely. It'll be a Toning with Tara travel.
Right? Exactly. I can do the workout. I can do the workout.
Go see my sister and brother-in-law show.
That's awesome.
You know, there's a community that's happened. And just the mere fact that we're all moving together at the same time and sweating, whatever, it's just something going on that's happening at the same time. And that to me fills my heart with joy. And I'm just so honored that we have technology that I can do this. And, you know, my grandpa Joe, he was a World War II vet. He fought in the Battle of Iwo Jima, which is where they raised that flag. There's the monument. He was the Marine division right behind that division. And he said to me on his deathbed, and he was such a quiet man. He was an old school Italian. And he just said to me, Tara, we're here to help each other. And he never talked about the war. He closed that book. It was a horrible thing. Mm. And we are here to help each other. And he died the next day. And like I had tears, of course, but that is in my heart at all times. And I just want to be a helper. And if I can help you through moving and working out, whatever, I don't care if you have goals, you don't have goals, whatever it is. I want you to move. I want your brain, that blood to go to your brain and then feel good. Forget about what's going on right now. If we can for 40 minutes together. And sometimes I do an extra arm bonus. So that's another 10 minutes. So it's 50 minutes together, so if we can just be together and let that go and then have a better rest of our day, then
that's it.
That's it. And I'm thinking about what's going to happen after this. I don't know. What is group fitness going to look like? I don't know. Yeah. What is one-on-one training going to look like? I don't know. It's going to stay virtual for a long time. We'll see. I'm going to keep rolling with it. And
but those are the people that'll be situated too. It's just like for me, if I would have closed, the restaurant and just like waited to see what happened when things reopen, it's not going to be the same as it was before. I'm not going to have any footing. But right now I feel like I can move any different way. And I kind of feel that way for you. It's like you've been top of mind. You've just done such an awesome job.
Thank you.
You're a better person now than you were 3 months ago. And so when things start to loosen up, you're going to be able to go like, boop, it's just going to be a step and a hop, not like, oh my God, how do we start? How do we do this? And I think that's been the other thing that has impressed me the most about you is that without even thinking about it, you've situated yourself.
I do that a lot. You can ask Kyle. I always think things through. I'm the kind of, I will jump in and fit. Yeah. Like high five there. Kyle researches everything.
Yeah.
To the point where I'm like,
tell him to keep studying those jujitsu moves. It ain't going to help him. I'm still going to take his back.
You're a spider.
Yeah, man. No, that's it. There's no preparation for this.
No.
There's no preparation. So it's better to just, to be able to, like, you just come from the heart straight up. And I think that's the best piece of advice for everybody that wants to do this. They want to live stream. Just be totally freaking sincere. Offer people something that they need, that they need, and don't ask for anything in return necessarily, and unless you really need it, and then it'll come.
No, thank you.
What is it? Toning.with.Tara?
Toning with Tara. You'll find it. Toning with Tara. ToningWithTara.com. Toning with Tara on Facebook. Toning with Tara on Instagram. I'm not on Twitter. I'm not good with Twitter. I should probably.
I know. I saw you had like one tweet in 2019.
Listening to your last guest, who looks so familiar to me. I've definitely seen him.
He's in the neighborhood. Yeah.
I was like, oh God, I got to get on Twitter. I'm on all those platforms. And every workout, because I know people's schedules are different, is on YouTube. So Toning with Tara, look it up on YouTube and do the workout. I'm definitely going to have to up my studio game soon.
Awesome. Yeah, right? You got to get them backgrounds.
Yeah, I got to work on that.
And keep them kids out of there.
Oh my God, Horseman and Catman.
That's the best. I know that. I know Horseman well. Well, thank you so much. Keep up all the really awesome work. It's such an inspiration for me and my family. And I talked to so many people that feel the same. So please keep it up.
You.
Check her out, everybody. Toning with Tara. Get those endorphins moving. You'll be a better person. You'll help the world. Yeah. All right, everybody. Have a great week. We'll check in with you next week. You listen to the Entrepreneurial Web. Peace out.
Talking Alternative Radio, 24 hours a day.
Do you run or are ready to open your own business? Hi, I'm Jeremiah Fox. I've been operating and opening small business for the last 25 years, and I'm the host of the new show, The Entrepreneurial Web. Tune in every Friday at noon Eastern Time for insights and stories on the nuances of running small business right here on Fridays at noon, talkradio.nyc.
I'm the aptly named host of Tony Martignetti Nonprofit Radio, big nonprofit ideas for the other 95%. Fundraising, board relations, social media. My guests and I cover everything that small and mid-sized shops struggle with. If you have big dreams and a small budget, you have Martignetti Nonprofit Radio. Fridays 1 to 2 Eastern at talkingalternative.com.
Hey, all you crazy listeners. Looking to boost your business? Why not advertise on Talking Alternative with very reasonable rates? Interested? Simply email at info@talkingalternative.com.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network at www.talkingalternative.com. Now, broadcasting 24 hours a day. Talking Alternative.
Do you love or are you intrigued about New York City and its neighborhoods? I'm Jeff Goodman, host of Rediscovering New York, a weekly show that showcases New York's history and its extraordinary neighborhoods. Every Tuesday live at 7 p.m., we focus on a particular neighborhood and explore its history, its vibe, its feel, and its energy. Tune in live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.